It's time for the reforms to finally take off in aviation. Plenty of changes that the loss-ridden sector has been waiting for. And now finally, in its draft of the new aviation policy, for the first time, the Civil Aviation Ministry has proposed to list profit-making entities, Airports Authority of India, which runs and manages 125 airports, and helicopter major Pawan Hans. The government will also review the contentious 5/20 rule that allows only airlines with 5 years experience and 20 aircraft to fly abroad. The new policy proposes to develop Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kolkata and Bangalore airports as international hubs and bring down taxes on aviation turbine fuel that are 40 to 45% higher than other countries. While the listing of Airports Authority of India could take time, Pawan Hans could hit the markets first.
You see, listing of a company makes it more transparent. So in that line it is necessary. Let's see, we thought of this, let the policy suggestions come up and it has to evolve itself and we'll take it.
The draft of the new aviation policy proposes the development of cargo sector in India, enhancing regional connectivity and promoting the business of maintenance, repair and overhaul of aircraft within the country, majority of which currently happens abroad. Government also plans to give wings to helicopter aviation in the country by giving incentives at airports for in-city and emergency chopper services.
Aviation Minister Gajapati Raju said for the first time that the current management of Air India can be completely done away with, making way for a new professional body managing its affairs. Also, Air India will not be allowed to bleed forever, and privatizing the airline is an option if needed. Sumit Chaturvedi, ET Now, New Delhi.
Let's get more perspective on these aviation sector reforms. It's been a while since the government's really put in focus into this sector. Ajay Prasad, former aviation secretary and someone who understands the sector very well, joins in with his perspective. Mr. Prasad, what's your sense? How will these steps bring Indian carriers on a path to profitability? Because that's the key challenge here, isn't it? Most of the Indian carriers are still reeling under losses and they blame the government's policies for this mess.
You see, one of the most important suggestions that has been made in this is to restructure the tariffs on the aviation turbine fuel. Now, this has been a demand of the civil aviation industry and as well as the ministry for a very long time. And unless some really serious work is done on this in rationalizing the taxes, the Indian carriers will continue to suffer from this disadvantage as compared to any other carrier abroad. So I think this is the most critical step. If something can be done here, so far unfortunately all efforts have not met with success because the state governments who have refused to lower the taxes except with some 1 or 2 exceptions who have done that, but by and large the other state governments have not agreed to lower the taxes.
It's not just the state governments or even the finance ministry earlier, and of course the state governments haven't been on board. What is the likelihood of low ATF taxes demand being met this time around? How hopeful are you?
You see, this is what I was saying, that this has been the stumbling block in the past also, where state governments see the taxes on aviation as a major source of revenue and are very reluctant to part with it. Some state governments lowered the taxes and haven't really suffered any major loss in revenue. But I think this is something which the centre and the finance ministry will have to take a proactive role in convincing the state governments. And probably when the discussions on the GST and others progress, I think this should become a part of the whole process, and maybe something can be agreed to at that time.
Fair point indeed, but there is still no concrete plan to turn around the national carrier Air India. Don't you think the draft policy should have included something on Air India's turnaround as well, or at least this is the time government should go for Air India privatization? They alluded to it, but what is your view on it?
See, I saw a statement from the Minister of Civil Aviation today saying that he has not ruled out privatization. But not ruling it out and doing it is two different things. At the moment, the Air India's finances and condition is such that even if the government took a decision to privatize, I wonder who would be interested in buying it. So unless a complete restructuring of the balance sheet of Air India is done and its large colossal debt written off, nobody would be interested even in buying Air India, even if the government wished to do so.
That's a fair point, isn't it? Who's going to be buying Air India if the government want to sell it? But final word to you then, there's also a proposal to list the Airport Authority of India and Pawan Hans. What could be the reason? The minister says it's to bring in more transparency. Will there be takers for stake in these companies?
You see, public sector entities are enjoying a good demand in the stock market, and as these two entities are also making profits, it's a step towards becoming more market friendly for these companies. So I welcome this decision that you list them on the stock exchange and get more private sector participation into the companies.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Prasad, for joining us with all of those details, perspective on the new aviation policy, one that has come after a long time, but one that is looking to take off.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.